All right. Hello and welcome to Raising Up Sons, where we're trying to be better dads so our sons can be better men. So today I've got our special guest, Brian. LG and I, we were talking about, just all the different things that help boys become men. And sports was at the top of the list. And so I've got my man, Brian, here today. Brian, welcome. Thanks for being here.
It's nice being here.
So, Brian, tell us just a little bit about who you are. Tell us about your family. Tell us about your boys, how old they are, all that stuff.
So I am a Colorado native. I was born in La Junta, Colorado. Moved to Colorado Springs, where you reside now.
Oh, yeah.
When I was about 4 or 5 years old, and I've lived here ever since. Sports was a really big part of my childhood, and so as I got older and through high school, I decided I wanted to make being a coach something I wanted to do. And so when I was about 18, 19 years old, I decided I wanted to start coaching baseball, and I started coaching the guys that I was playing baseball with the year before. So I was 18 coaching a bunch of 17-year-olds, or I might not even been. I think I was just turned 18. So now I'm 43. So I've been coaching. I tell people I've been coaching for 25 years, and they think I'm crazy, but I have been coaching for 25 years. Taking some seasons off here and there, but as you know, I coach multiple sports.
Oh, yeah.
Growing up, my dad was not around quite as much when I was in middle school and beyond until we were a little bit older and we started to have a really good relationship. But from the time I was in about 5th grade through high school, my dad lived in Denver and I lived in Colorado Springs. So I just thought it'd be good to give back to my community, something that maybe I didn't get to enjoy having my dad around with me, through sports. It didn't make it to a lot of baseball games, didn't make it to a lot of football games. So, but one of the guys that really made a difference in my life, his name was Chuck Yost. He was my baseball coach in high school. He kind of changed, I'd say he changed my life. And he encouraged me to be a coach. So I started to do everything and anything I could do. I coach, I've coached basketball, softball, football, and of course baseball. I've coached baseball since, like I said, the day I graduated high school. So, and then with me personally in my life, I found out that, through my struggles of trying to continue to be an athlete, that, I enjoyed coaching because maybe it wasn't there for me like it could have been, right? So I knew I was a pretty good athlete. I knew I could play college baseball, which I had a scholarship to play college baseball. Decided not to go that route, and I think it was a journey that God put me on to try and affect as many lives as possible.
Oh, yeah.
So, and basically, I had 2 boys, one in 2009 and one in 2011, and I was coaching baseball at a high school at the time when they were young, 2 and maybe newborn. I decided that I wanted to coach them in sports when my oldest was 2 years old, which kind of sounds funny. People probably think I'm crazy that my kid was playing sports at 2 years old, but at 3 and 4, I ended up being a president of a little league when my kid was 3 or 4, and just started to really get involved with the youth scene in sports. I just kind of threw myself in feet first.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a little league that was, 800 participants strong, that I was able to, try and take a different direction and try and lead not just the little league itself, but a bunch of other coaches to become, better people and give back to their communities as much as possible. So I stepped away from being, just a straight coach of high school sports or little league sports, and I decided I wanted to try and mentor as many as I could to go further. And my kids, I got to enjoy my kids' youth experience in those sports for as long as possible. And then we started doing some other youth sports organizations for baseball. I have something called Colorado Springs Mountain Lions, and
that's something you started.
that's something I started after about 5 years of being a little league president.
Yeah.
We saw a need to play a little bit more baseball and to try and compete with different bigger cities in Colorado. So we still wanted to do the little league thing. So for the longest time, a lot of those kids kept playing in little league and played a little bit more competitive baseball. And then gradually I got back into high school baseball. I've probably coached high school baseball in 10 different seasons or so. So I'm coaching high school again, and I have some high school teams that play some club baseball. And in between all of that, we did some basketball stuff where I was able to coach your son in basketball as well, and football.
Yeah. We were talking about you the other night because I was telling him you were coming over for this podcast, and he was like, "Yeah." So I love baseball and basketball, and football. He's like, but for some reason, I always played harder for Coach Brian. And I was like, "Why was that?" And he said, "I think because I knew he loved me, but he also yelled at me a lot to get me going. Yeah. I think he needed that."
Yeah, I'm loud. I'm passionate. The people that know me know that I care enough to be loud and tell people the truth. The people that watch me coach probably think I'm crazy.
Yeah.
But as time's gone on, I think more people have trusted the fact that I have what's the best interest of the kids
definitely
at heart.
Yeah, you got their trust and their love.
Yeah. So I mean, so take it all into being a dad, and it's hard to coach your kids all the time, right? And you've had the joy of coaching your kids, and you get to experience all those things, and it's fun. It's awesome. My two kids are great athletes, but we always talk about being better people and better, being better to the person next to you than, worrying about yourself kind of thing. So,
so let's talk about your boys real quick. So I'm going to make you brag on them for a little bit because they are awesome young men. So just brag on your boys like you're allowed to, We don't want to brag typically, but right here, please. So that way everybody knows, just kind of who Braden and Luke are.
So my oldest son is a sophomore in high school, and he's a three-sport athlete. He plays quarterback. He plays quarterback for the JV team. So as a sophomore, he's a backup on the varsity team as a quarterback. Good athlete. Plays basketball as well. His freshman year, he played football, basketball, baseball. This year, he's trying to do the same thing, but hopefully letter in all three sports. In his freshman year, he did letter in his baseball season and had an outstanding freshman season. Batted over 500 on the varsity level, 5A varsity level. So he had a great season, but
and how fast is he throwing now?
He's
like 90.
He's getting closer to 85. He's getting close there. He's working hard. He works hard every single day to do that. But like the biggest thing is, you asked me to brag on him, but I mean the biggest thing I want to brag about is he's a straight A student. He makes sure that he has all of his homework done. He makes sure he has everything done before he goes to school the next morning. So I mean, those things are more what I want to brag about, right? Like he is a better kid than I ever was. He's smarter than I probably ever was in high school. He definitely knows he sees the bigger picture. And his work ethic is great. So my younger son Luke, he's an 8th grader, very similar, tries to stay with the three sports as long as he can. Plays quarterback on the football team. He plays as hard as he can on basketball. I don't know what position he plays. Luke or Braden plays point guard and Luke plays point center or something.
Just runs people over.
Size difference. My older son is 6'2", 175 pounds-ish, somewhere in there. And Luke, my younger son's 5'10" in 8th grade, and he's around 170 pounds already. So he's just a little bit of a different build, as you know. So different positions. Braden plays pitcher, center field, first base in baseball, and Luke plays catcher, third base, and pitches. So just a different build, different kids. Both of them equally, I feel like, as good of athletes, just different aspects, right? Luke's a big, strong guy that can hit home runs. Not that Braden can't, but Braden's a more thin, fast type kid. just a different kind of athletic build for each of them. But both of them equally just great kids. Like,
Oh yeah.
Luke, again, straight A student. We get compliments about Luke from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people call him the dad.
He for sure is, yeah.
He tries to make sure that everybody's doing the right thing and lined up the right way, and doesn't want anybody to get in trouble.
Yeah.
There's a kid on the football team that he's been talking to that hadn't been getting great grades.
Uh-huh.
He comes in the car the other day and he doesn't talk about football practice. He talks about how this kid has been eligible all year long, and that he's like, I've been telling him all year long that we need to keep you eligible. So stuff like that makes me feel really good. And so I can, point some of that back to understanding what it's like to have, a coach as a dad, because those expectations are always there, right? And it's hard to sometimes turn that off.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I know Luke and Eli, they're playing, football together, basketball together. And like after practice, sometimes Eli will get a text from Luke. And he's like, "Hey, great job hustling tonight. Keep up the good work." Things like that. Like, he is such an encourager. And then what that does for his teammates, I mean, it just lifts them up, gives them the confidence that they feel like, they can conquer the world with that. So he's definitely doing a good job of that. And so when it comes to sports, like, why do you think it's important for kids to play sports? Like, do you think all kids should be playing sports? Should parents force their kids in at a young age? What do you think about that?
Well, so, my older son, he had super bad anxiety issues. Nobody would notice it in real life, like just day to day. But we knew he had some anxiety issues when he was younger, and nothing that, we had to go to the doctor and make sure he was okay or anything like that. We just knew, like, this makes him anxious.
Yeah.
These things are very difficult for him. So that was part of the reason why I went to go coach them at such a young age. Is it's like, hey, you encourage them to go out onto the field, and if dad's out there. So when people talk about a dad coach and they say, "Oh, dad coach this, dad coach," that's like, well, dads need to be out on the field to help their kids have enough gumption to go out there and do it, right? So that was where we were at with Braden when he was younger. It was like, this is the best way to get him socially, get him out there socially as much as possible. So, get to as many kids that were like him to a degree, that like sports, that one, and he felt comfortable going out there and playing. In the backyard, he was all right playing with his cousins.
Yeah.
We wanted him to feel comfortable, and then so we started playing sports before they went to school.
Yeah.
So it made it easier for him to go to school, because he had already had friends that he had been playing with and stuff. Like, oh, okay, now it's encouraging. Hey, you've already done this. Now let's go try that, right? So it might be opposite for other people, but that was how our life kind of just happened. We had, my mom does daycare, so she has kind of like a preschool. So there might have been a little bit more of a sheltered type of thing right there. We had so many people around that were helping us and take care of things that, okay, now get out there and play with other kids that aren't your cousins, kind of thing. So, I just feel like that is important, to have that social aspect. And then even greater than that is that guy's better than me. Like, he's better than me. So now, as you get older and obviously not 4 years old or 5 years old, but it can start then.
Yeah.
I used to say all the time, you teach competitiveness. Everybody thinks, oh, yeah, that guy's just a competitor. He's just, no, that's not true. That's not generally how that works. Like, if somebody's just competitive and they're like ruthless, that generally doesn't work. I mean, you've coached plenty, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you have a ruthless competitor, you have to rein him in, and then you have to try and change, their direction and try and reharness it and say, hey, this is where we want you to go with that. Now, if you're teaching them, okay, that kid might be better than you, but you need to also be okay with that kid being on your team. Like,
oh yeah,
I can get better than Johnny or Billy or whoever, but me getting better and Johnny getting better or Billy getting better at the same time together, that means a whole lot more. And it teaches you so much more about who you are, what you can handle. Like, it's tough sometimes going and doing anything, right?
Mhm.
Like debating somebody and that person making a better point than you make, and
Mhm.
but you know what to say, you just can't
Yep.
say it, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's how sports are, right? So like you teaches you so many failures
Oh
overall
yeah.
that you find out who you are very quickly. You know, my kids get more upset at a Broncos game, like the Broncos losing. You know, and I've learned how to like readjust myself, going,
Mhm.
all right, I know I'm a big Broncos fan, but I don't have control over that.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some kids get so frustrated,
Mhm.
is that they don't have control over it. So like we always talk about, like, control the controllables.
Yep.
You know, you can't control what, you know, so and so's ability is,
Mhm.
but you can control what your ability
Oh yeah.
is and how much better you can get at something. You know, like just the other day when Eli was playing,
Yeah.
and I'm like, hey, I know I'm not his coach, right?
Yeah.
But come over here and talk to me real quick.
Yeah.
I want you to know this is what you need to do, and you need to work as hard as you can. And
Mhm.
you saw right away his. It wasn't necessarily that all of a sudden he just had this greatest basketball
Yeah.
game. His
Yeah.
face changed.
Oh yeah.
His
More
mood
confident.
changed.
Yeah.
His shoulders
Yeah.
changed. Like, so I feel like all of those things relate to life. And if I didn't have all those things, I wouldn't be able to get through
Yeah.
all the stuff that I've been through in my
Yeah.
life, you know.
Yeah.
So it's taught me a lot. I feel like that's taught my kids a ton, you know. You can't be in this controlled environment all the time though,
Mhm.
right? So I can't always just coach my kids.
Yep.
My kids know, like you know this.
Yep.
I'm coach when I'm on the baseball field or on the
Mhm.
football field. They look at me as coach. They call me coach. They don't even consider me being dad.
Mhm.
And then when we leave the court or the field or whatever, I let them talk to me.
Mhm.
I don't say, you know, you could have done this better.
Yeah.
We're past that point too, though.
Yeah.
Like my kids are the type of athletes that, like, they understand
Mhm.
that me saying something to them is not, like, even if I did try and critique what they were
Yeah.
saying or what they were doing, they wouldn't take it
Yeah.
as me being, you know, coming down on them or anything
Yeah.
like that. But that took a long time to get to.
Yeah, so walk us through that process, because I know as a lot of dads that, we're thinking, all right, as soon as the game's over, it's like, what are you thinking? Why didn't you do this? And so there's like the parking lot, theory. There, where
The hat
where
theory.
yeah, what's that?
So, you know, as a baseball coach, you generally have a hat on. I guess
Mhm.
as a as a basketball coach, you don't
Yeah.
generally have a hat, but football, a lot of sports, you wear a hat. So you get in the car, you take your hat off, and you put it on the dashboard, and they know that you're dad.
Okay.
You no longer have your
Yeah.
hat on. I'm dad. Talk to me about whatever
Mhm.
you want to talk. Um, for me, I think the biggest thing was just like telling myself, don't have some unreasonable expectation on your
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah.
You know, they're going to learn, they're going to grow, and they're going to become whatever they become based on how much work ethic they want to put into it.
Mhm.
So that's all I always like go back to
Mhm.
is, my wife sometimes says, well, you shouldn't ask them that, or you shouldn't tell them that. They should maybe want to do that on their own. I'm like, yeah, but everybody needs that little,
Yeah.
kick in the butt.
Mhm.
Hey, go down there and pitch if you want to get faster at pitching.
Mhm.
And then if they don't, go down there and pitch, and they come to you and they say, what do I need to do? I'm like, I told you what to do 3 days
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not that it's not that I'm putting pressure on them or saying, hey, you have to do this. It's like,
Mhm.
you know what you have to do to get
Yeah.
better.
Yep.
So that's where we have come as a family, right?
Mhm.
It's not that we don't have frustrations or discussions. I think the biggest thing is, like, a lot of kids get frustrated with other kids.
Mhm.
That's like, or other families, or families get frustrated
Yep.
that so and so's starting or so and so's getting more playing time. But that's another thing that you don't really have control over. So we talk about that. Like, okay, so when you get in the car, I want you to say 5 good things before you say something bad.
Yeah, that's good.
And by the time they get to the 5th thing, you've gotten into this conversation that's so far past what they were thinking about
Yeah.
that they never say something bad. I mean, really, we started this like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
We noticed that we might have been frustrated with something because it's a Sunday, it's late in the day, we
Mhm.
played 3 baseball games. We're we're losing in championship games or something. And so we get in the car, and the first thing you say is, "Oh, it'd be so nice to win. It'd be so nice to do this, or it'd be so nice to do that." And it's like, no. We're not going to say that. Like, we're here on a Sunday or a Saturday playing baseball, enjoying ourselves, like in this great weather in Colorado, and we're going to complain, And I think having that perspective with your kids and then them learning that is, I don't know. You asked me what's great about sports. That is, like, you learn those things through sports. Then if you're in class with a kid that you don't really get along with, right? You're sitting there thinking, okay, what can I make good of this? Like, how can I change my perspective on this? I can't control that kid's behavior, but I can control how I, want to react to that kid's behavior. So, it's, it all goes back to kind of the same thing, right? So then I, as a dad, get in the car and I want to tell, Braden or Luke, hey, you could have done this on da 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 da. Well, no, if I'm trying to teach them to not, say what's bad, then I can't say what's bad. I got to let them say to me what they want, how they want to learn it. And that doesn't always happen, right? Like, my younger son is so easygoing with certain things. Like, he doesn't always have this, like, I'm going to get you, And so sometimes we'll get in the car in between games and I'm like, man, you got to have that dog. Like, you got to be, that you're big, that you're strong. Now you got to show people that. And that's not discouraging.
Yeah.
It's a different kind of encouragement, in my opinion. Some people might go, oh, well, why are you saying that in between games? No, it's not. It's not me saying, like, you're not good.
Yeah.
It's me saying you can be better, just by this subtle change. And I try to do that with all the kids. Like, any kid that I've ever coached, I try and give them what I would want my dad to give me.
Oh, and I can be a testament to that too, because I think, at the last game, Brian mentioned it a little bit, but at the last basketball game, they played 2 back-to-back games, and Eli wasn't giving 100% on defense, just in the game in general. And then I look around and across the court, I see you talking with him, and so you're not his coach. You have been his coach in the past, and then I look over and I see your wife, and I said, "Man, I love that." And she's like,
she's probably shaking her head.
She's like, "You like when Brian talks to your son like that? Give him a little pep talk?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I'm like, you are treating each kid like, not only in the games are you cheering for Luke and getting excited when he does good things, you're cheering for all the boys, because and I think that right there just shows, like, it's an example for other parents. It's an example for me of, like, my gosh, like, these kids, like, their parents might not be able to make it, but Brian's there, he's cheering them on, and because of that, like, they're gonna give their all because they feel that love and encouragement from you. That's why you can get on them in between games, is because they know how much you love them.
Well, I think that's I wish that all parents would think that way for all kids.
Yeah.
I get so frustrated going to games and sitting in the stands and hearing parents only root for their kid. It's like, I get it. Like, you're here to watch your kid, but just imagine how great it would make that kid feel if everyone was rooting on every kid and we weren't worried about playing time and we weren't worried about, I've coached for so many years and I've coached so many different levels and I've coached so many different kind of parent types and so many different kind of kid types. And 99% of the time, it's the parent that doesn't feel like their kid's getting what they need out of it. And they don't ever even ask their kid. They don't go, hey, I know you didn't play a lot, or don't even bring it up. Just say, how was your day? How was the game? Did you enjoy it? Yeah, I enjoyed it. Don't say, we're going to change teams because you only got 5 minutes of playing time this basketball game. Ask them how they feel about it. Ask them about, and it doesn't need to be that day.
Yep.
It could be after that. And if you're encouraging to all kids, you're asking people, every single type of kid, what they expect out of things too. Like, don't get me wrong. If you're not going to work hard, you're not going to practice, you're not going to do certain things to play on a highly competitive team, then you don't deserve to play on a highly competitive team. It's just, that's how it should be. But if you're doing everything, you're working super hard, and you're getting 3 minutes when you used to get 1 minute, why go up to the coach and say he needs to play more basketball? Go up to the kid and say, or football or baseball, whatever. Go up to the kid and say, are you enjoying your experience?
Yeah.
Are you liking your coach? Is your coach giving you what you need? Are you getting what you need out of practice? Because that's the other thing. I mean, don't get me started on tournament baseball, tournament basketball, tournament football, tournament blah, 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 right? I have an organization that plays tournament baseball.
Yeah.
I have an organization that we play tournament basketball with, right? I mean, but on both of those fronts, the practice is what is most important.
Oh, yeah.
You learn most about who you are in practice when you're trying to just figure out how to get that, 2 more minutes of time in the gym without being completely exhausted.
Yeah. All right. So here's a question for you too, then. just in talking about playing time, the kids' experience, what would happen if, man, your kid's crushing it, in the sports, and then they come to you and they're like, all right, I don't want to play anymore. I've lost my love for it. How, like what's your response? Do you let them quit? Do you what?
So my kids, we have discussions constantly. So there's been different occasions that they maybe wanted to focus on another sport than a different sport, right?
Yep.
So we usually take time off.
Yeah.
Generally, we just take time off. So like Luke was kind of just like getting exhausted with basketball at the end of last year. He had football, wrestling. Wait, no, it goes football, basketball, wrestling.
Yeah.
And he was playing basketball the entire time.
Yeah.
So he would go from football practice to his league or his tournament basketball practice. Then he gets over with football season, and he's still playing like a little bit of baseball because they never don't want to play baseball. But I take the baseball bat and glove away from him anyways to give him a break. But this entire time, it's like a 20-week time frame. He's playing tournament basketball, and we get to March, and he has the option to play basketball during baseball season, and he just chose. He just said, "Dad, I don't want to play basketball right now. I don't know that." And he said, "I don't know if I want to play basketball anymore." So, well, let's just hold off on that because I know he loves basketball. Why don't we just take a break? Why don't we just not play for a while? You don't have to play from now until the end of summer.
Yeah.
And I talked to the basketball coach, and he was super understanding about it. And he says, yeah, we know that Luke plays baseball, and we know that he's not going to be around as much, but I'm like, he's just not going to be there at all. Yeah. Like, he's not going to be at practices. He's not going to be at games. He's just going to completely step aside. That's how I handled that. And now he's playing basketball again, right? Braden, this last season, he's a pretty highly rated baseball player. And so we get to football season, they get a new football coach. And he's like, Dad, I don't know if I want to play football. Yeah. And I'm like, man, that's tough for me because I love watching them play football. Like, but it's okay. Like, you decide you don't want to play, you don't want to play. But let's try this. Why don't you go to football practices? We'll pay whatever the $500 or whatever it is for the whole summer. You'll work out with the team. You'll go to practices and you'll get stronger and better and faster. And then at the end of the summer, if you decide you don't want to play football, then you can just say no. I'm not going to play. The season hasn't started. We kind of have a rule like if the season starts, you're not going to quit.
Right.
So he got through all of it, and he gets to the end of the summer, and way before the end of the summer, he's like, I want to keep playing. I this is something exciting. It was more like I got a new football coach. I have to prove to him that I play 3 sports and I'm committed to all 3 sports.
Yeah.
And so, but other kids that are not my kids, come to me 2 or 3 kids a year, right? Yeah. Kids that I consider really close to almost being like my kid. And I just talk to them, and I give them options. I say, hey, if you want to keep coming to practice and not come to games, come to practice. Don't quit. Yeah. Don't quit playing just because we are doing too much baseball or doing too much basketball. Come to practices. And then if they decide to quit, they decide to quit. But I always tell them, like, once you quit, I'm your coach for life. So call me, talk to me, ask me if you've got issues in your life, like my number is right here. Yeah. Call me. Because my biggest thing is like, raising young men, boys into young boys and young men and into men. And it's like, I remember being there
Yep.
like it was yesterday.
Yeah.
And, like I said, my dad and I's relationship is really tight. He's one of my best friends. But I remember in sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth grade, kind of feeling like I had nobody to talk to, and that's partially in your own head.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't want to talk to people, you don't want to say anything to anybody. You just feel like you've got all kinds of hormones going through your body, and when you say something, somebody thinks you're in a bad mood, and so you just stop saying stuff, and it's difficult to break through to some of those guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you just say, "Oh, you play basketball or you play baseball or football or whatever," and that's our only relationship, like it's super misguided, right?
Yeah.
It's not something that I want to even be a part of. And I've had kids leave my baseball organization, go to other baseball organizations. I text them sometimes on a weekly basis. Yep. And I root for them constantly. I root for different kids in different areas of their lives. I mean,
different teams that you're playing against.
Yeah, when I play them, I make sure that at the end of the games, now that we're high school age, and my son is, it was awesome last year. There was probably 7 teams that my older son played that he was taking pictures with because he played with them growing up.
Yeah.
So, you go all the way back to why are sports important? Well, now he's got relationships.
Yeah.
All over, like a spider web in this town.
Yeah. Yep.
At every school, and he's 15 years old, and he's got friends all over the place. And I remember him getting in the car one time last year, and he said, "Dad, I have a lot of friends that are sophomores, juniors, and seniors." Well, because he's been playing against those guys since he was 4 years old. He goes to play basketball when he's 4. He's playing against a 7-year-old. Well, now that guy's a senior when he's a freshman. So it helps out tremendously when it comes to that. I mean, and then we always put God first in all of this, and we pray as a family. We talk about other kids, in our prayers. Hey, this might be tough on this kid this week. This has been tough on this kid that week, and all of those relationships, were brought to me for a reason.
Yeah,
and I constantly harken back to that. And when I talk to kids, and it's not easy talking about Christ to people you don't know what their religious background is too. So, when I do my praying, I'll say, "Hey, if you want to pray with us, you're more than happy. Go ahead. We'd be happy for you to." But we don't ever say, because it's total secular world, right? So like, you don't ever say, "Hey, we're all going to pray as a team no matter what." And everybody, most of the time, says yes to that, right?
Yeah.
And everybody accepts prayers, and we just always try to harken back to that, though. I'm sure Eli will tell you, "Hey, coach was yelling at me when they started talking about."
Oh yeah, for sure. No, and I think too, in hearing about you and just your love for the game, your love for all the athletes, I think it also helps. One of the reasons why I love sports is because you get to play for all different types of coaches, and so you're going to have some coaches that are amazing, like you, that are like you're tough on them, you're helping them, but they also know how much you love them. But then there's also coaches that they'll deal with that are they're just bad coaches. And so it just helps you deal with all different sorts of people, like not just your coach, but also teammates. So I love that. The other thing I want you to speak into is just Moreno's muscles. And so
Moreno's muscles is, so I found out I had a muscle disease. So I have muscular dystrophy. It's a muscle disease, a neuromuscular disease. For anybody that's going to look it up, it's limb-girdle muscular dystrophy type 2B. My specific type is Miyoshi myopathy, so there's a bunch of big words in this. Miyoshi, so Mi is muscle, like short for muscle in Japan. Yoshi is the doctor that found it. So Miyoshi myopathy is, and then myopathy is my muscle basically dying, right? So like loss of muscle myopathy. So this type of muscular dystrophy starts in your forearms or your calves. Mine started in my calves, and goes up your legs on the backside. If it starts in your forearms, which eventually I'll get into my forearms, it'll go up to your shoulders. So I've been blessed with this type of muscular dystrophy. So it's kind of funny. People when they hear me say that, I'm like, I couldn't have a better type of muscular dystrophy. Because if it started in my shoulders and in my hips, when I found out about this, I wouldn't be walking at all right now. And I'm proud of myself for getting up your steps to get in here.
Oh, yeah.
So since it's kind of like the reverse of what happened elsewhere, I still have the ability to walk. I still have the ability to coach as much as I can coach. I've kind of stepped back from coaching basketball, not necessarily because I can't, but just because I want my kids to experience other coaches and understand that they've got to understand how to play for different people. But so this is back in 2014, around the same time I was starting to do the Little League president.
Okay.
I found out I had muscular dystrophy. It was a 7-year search, basically. So when I was 25, I got married when I was 25. Pretty sure I got married when I was 25. Yeah, so I was 25 years old. I remember at my wedding day not being able to stand on my toes, so I couldn't do a calf raise. But I could do everything else. I could still play softball. So I was playing leisure league softball with friends. I just thought I was getting out of shape. So, time went on, and I was like, I gotta find out what's wrong. Maybe it was a competitor in me or whatever. I don't know. I just felt like if I found out what was wrong, that I'd be able to kind of be healed.
Yeah.
Right. So if I find out what's wrong, we can find a solution to it. I had back surgery when I was 27, 28, somewhere in there. Because I had a slipped disc. So the doctor at that time said, you're gonna be better as soon as you have this back surgery. Your calf muscles are going away because it's sitting on the nerve.
Wow.
All these things. So I did get better. I was able to run a little bit more. I was able to move my body a little bit better. I didn't really feel as much jelly in my legs. But like a year and a half later, I started feeling some stagnant. It wasn't necessarily pain. It was just like if you work out really hard with your legs and you want to walk across the gym, you feel like you're going to fall over. That's how my legs started to feel. So I went back to the doctor. He told me it was my back again, and I knew something else inside of me was telling me that wasn't the truth. It was something different. So my brother-in-law, who's a nurse, and he knew some guys, and he said, "Hey, go see this neurosurgeon," and his name was Dr. Thompson, and he saw me take 3 steps without my shoes on, and he's like, "Yeah, it's not your back." So at that time, I was just excited. I'm like, "Yes, we're gonna find out what's wrong, right?" So he sends me to a referral to the Children's Hospital up in Denver, in Aurora and Schultz campus, and they had done some blood work, and I didn't know the results of the blood work. And I went up there by myself. So I didn't take my wife. I didn't think I was going to get some life-altering news. And the doctor walks in and he says, "You have muscular dystrophy." And I mean, the layperson doesn't know what muscular dystrophy is, right? A lot of people say, "You have MS. How's your MS doing?" Right? And now I don't ever correct anybody because I'm like, I mean, they're equally
right.
It's not great to have anything that's debilitating. So he says you have muscular dystrophy. Well, and then he walks out. So he was a Japanese doctor, and so like he's giving somebody the best news that he's going to give that day.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. True.
So he's telling me I have a muscular dystrophy that it's not going to affect my lifeline. Like it's not going to affect how long I live. I mean, it could if it affects my heart, but the type I have doesn't affect my heart. It doesn't affect my lungs, right? It's not affecting my shoulders and my hips too. It's not affecting my heart and my brain. So he's looking at it like, you're all right. You have Miyoshi myopathy. So he says Miyoshi myopathy, and I'm like, and like I said, he's Japanese, so he says it with a pretty thick accent, and so then he walks out of the room, and I'm by myself. So what's the first thing you do when you find out you have something, right? You WebMD, you're Googling it and all that.
Freaking out. Yeah.
So I start Googling it, and it looks like, I'm going to be bedridden in 5 years. And, that's the other stuff. I'm freaking out by myself. And he comes back and he says, "Hey, we got to do a muscle test, basically a muscle biopsy. We got to get that scheduled." And I'm just still like stunned. I don't really know what to do. And so I call my wife on the way home and I'm like, "I have muscular dystrophy," right? So what does she do? She Googles it and she starts looking, and it's like, we have 2 young boys.
Yeah.
And muscular dystrophy is, the worst type, Duchenne's, is solely in boys, right?
Mhm.
So you look and it's like it's going to happen to your kids. It's kind of
Mhm.
what we thought. Well, what I have is a recessive type, so it's my mom has to have the gene, my dad has to have the gene that has to mutate, and so my sisters are fully healthy. They don't have what I have, and the odds of my kids having it are low. But we're not going to do any testing or try and figure out if that
Yep.
maybe they're having normal childhood
Yep.
memories, and the odds of them having it are super low. And I had a normal childhood. I didn't have
Mhm.
anything that was even showing me, like, I didn't
Mhm.
notice any calf muscle loss till I was 23, 24 years
Wow.
old. So, leading all of that is the first year I was kind of in denial. I was working out. I
Yeah.
was in really good shape, like upper body wise. So I just kept working out. I'm like, I'm just going to pretend like this isn't
Mhm.
the thing, right? I didn't pray a lot. I didn't, I just felt like, okay, you can do this. I didn't ask for any help.
Mhm.
I didn't look for any signs. I didn't look like
Mhm.
I didn't feel bad for myself though. I wasn't sitting there going, "Hey, I wasn't mad at God or I wasn't
Mhm.
mad at my family. I wasn't upset. I just was kind of like numb to trying to understand what I had."
Mhm.
So a year went by, and just like anything I'd done, it was like, all right, now it's time to fight.
Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
I've given myself enough time to kind of understand where this is going to lead,
Mhm.
and I need to fight for those that need it the most. So we started Moreno's Muscles, and we started a team that walks in the MDA
Mhm.
walk, so Muscular Dystrophy Association. The first walk was down at World Arena, and I think I had a team of like 100,
Mhm.
or maybe it was 60 or 70 at that point. And it was an indoor walk, which was great because a lot of kids that are early onset muscular dystrophy, childhood onset, they can't walk far.
Mhm.
There's uneven levels, they're difficult. So they asked me to speak, and I talked a little bit, and I think that was when I realized, like, yeah, you have this.
Mhm.
Now you have to figure out
Mhm.
how to live with it. And every year since then. So that was 2015. I'm pretty sure was the first year that we had to walk. Every year since then, we've had a walk. Even for COVID, we
Mhm.
had a virtual walk. So everybody, bought shirts. We mailed them out,
Yep.
and they walked and videoed where they were walking. We moved out to Black Forest in 2020, and since then we've had our walk in
Oh yeah.
in Black Forest every single year. The month changes. It's basically like when we have the most amount of time
Yep.
to plan for it. So our walk is actually this Sunday.
Yep.
And every year I try and speak
Mhm.
and say
Last
something.
year you were preaching. I saw that.
Well, I try and say something that I think that others probably need to hear.
Mhm.
Um, because man, life is tough,
Mhm.
and everybody deals with something.
Mhm.
And so when people say to me, hey, you're an inspiration or something, I I I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong, but I kind of no. There's so many others that
Mhm.
you know deal with so many things on a daily basis, and you know pastors that are listening to other people's
Mhm.
problems, and having to take that information and and internalize it at some point, right? And
Mhm.
go, how am I going to help this person? And I know all of it leads back to prayer, right? And so I think last year was the biggest turning point for me. I've always been a huge, um, not religious.
Mhm.
I won't say religious,
Yep.
believer, follower,
Yeah.
all of those things. But I don't, I was raised Catholic. I don't go to Catholic church very often. I go to different
Mhm.
churches. I've
Yep.
gone, the most church that I've gone to is a Presbyterian church. But
Yep.
like, I feel like my relationship with Jesus is what is most important.
Yep.
So if I'm going to a church, or if I'm able to meditate,
Mhm.
in my Bible or in my daily passages, and feel that connection, that's what's most important to me.
Yep.
So I feel like last year, when I spoke, it was that. it was me changing.
Yeah.
You know, I quit my last job. I was doing some stressful stuff. I had 2 full-time jobs, and that was in the beginning of all of that, and I just had felt all this relief,
Oh
that
yeah.
in the weeks before that, and it just felt great,
Hmm.
and I attribute that to Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, I went back to work at the place that I used to work at,
Hmm.
and I have a really good friend there, that I work with on a daily basis, and he sends some prayers and sends different things, and I told him, I was like, "I know God wrote the email that I wrote to
Hmm.
send back to my boss because I was in such a bad place mentally at work that I wasn't happy all the time, right? Like, not that you always need to be
Yep.
happy at work, but like, and it happened.
Yep.
It wasn't it wasn't just chance.
Hmm.
Like, the I got an email response within 3 minutes from my old boss, like, and it was me reaching out and saying, "Hey, this is tough," right? So, like I said, so when I spoke last year at the walk, I feel like that was the most real conversation I've had with a bunch of people,
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, this is my experience. This is my walk that I
Yeah.
have. You should definitely think about having that same walk and
Hmm.
understanding who you are, and none of it is possible without Jesus." And it's crazy because I tell
Yeah.
people all the time, I'm like,
Yep.
once you fully submit, it's a different feeling.
Hmm.
Like, there's nothing that's not possible. Like, there's no there's no feeling like it.
Yeah.
And so I felt a whole lot better. I was reading something in the Bible on Sunday to my wife. Um, it was a story of Job and how he has all this stuff and he gets
Yeah.
it taken from him,
Yep.
and so it's like there was no more relatable story that I've read. I think that's like, yeah, none of this stuff even matters.
Yeah.
None of
Yeah.
the stuff that you have on a daily basis, your furniture, your
Yeah.
cars, or any of that stuff doesn't matter.
Yep.
And that, to take it all back to coaching, I mean, I feel like that is what we've always preached even before we really got more
Hmm.
religious into it,
Hmm.
and more religion into it, I should say,
Hmm.
because we would always talk about that.
Yep.
Like, hey, the score doesn't matter.
Yep.
You can take it all the way to the score. And you've heard me say this
Yep.
coaching. The score doesn't matter. It matters your effort.
Hmm.
What kind of effort are you giving? What kind of effort are you giving with your relationship with God? What kind of
Hmm.
effort are you giving with your relationship with your wife? What kind of effort are you giving with your relationship with your children? And if you can push that into this generation,
Yep.
which, by the way, is a great generation,
Oh yeah.
and which, by the way, if anybody tells you otherwise, the generation before was great, and the generation before that was great. What the problem is that people a lot of times think that the worst the worst of the best is
Yep.
what it is.
Yep.
And I've got to have employees that are of every generation. I've got to coach kids now in probably three different generations, probably. And there's a ton of good people in this world.
Oh yeah.
And when people say, "Oh, the world is just awful," and there's this, yes, it's just like anything. The
Yep.
the worst is not what you should be worried about.
Yep.
You like, continue the path of positivity, and that's, like I said, that's what we try and push to the kids all the time. Is
No.
this is where we want you to go.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, and I and I love what you said there too, because it's like sports help with so many things, with character, with working hard, taking ownership, all this stuff. But then you can also use sports to lead people closer to Jesus, to help kids understand, where true strength comes from. Because then when you hit something like you hit, when you run into that and you face it, it's like, man, that's when you're digging deep, and that's where, like you said, Jesus carried you through that, and you grew closer to Him, and now because of that, man, your boys and their relationship with Jesus and how they pray and their outlook on life and their care for other people. I mean, yeah, you're doing a great job of not just impacting your boys, but I know there's so many other kids out there, but I speak too because you're impacting my son Eli, and so
Well, and
yeah,
you too, man. Like, right away when when we met. I'm like, I need that guy to be around my kid more often because, like, everything you do and you say and you like, you have the ability to you'll speak into people and get results without me being tough and mean. Like you're just like that easy, soft spoken big guy that's like, hey, there's an easier way to do this, and so I appreciate that. And I mean, and on top of that, like all the people that have positively affected my life, and your show is about raising young men and the positive influence male role models have. The school that our kids go to.
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many positive male role models,
Yeah.
and nothing against the female role models. There's a bunch of those too as well, but like
both are football coaches.
Yeah, but it's not something you see, right? You don't on a regular basis as much. You don't see as many male teachers as you see at that school, and it's not that I want my kid to only be taught by males. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
Like they get to see that. Right? It'd be great if we had more male teachers. It'd be great if we had more, male administrators and male, just so then that way young men can understand what it's like to you look up to somebody that maybe you want to be. And my kids they're very bright when it comes to sports, like as far as strategic wise. So I tell them all the time, you should be a teacher. You should be a teacher and a coach.
And coaches, yeah.
Play for as long as you can. Play for another 100 years. I don't know. Play however long. But like for me, I had a coach tell me one time, like, your words will live through 3, 4, 5 generations.
Yeah.
If you're a coach.
Yeah.
Because you teach somebody something, and then that person teaches somebody something.
Oh yeah.
And then that person teaches somebody something that you might
think about things my coaches said, in middle school. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it hit me, right? Like, man, that's true. I give so much credit to my baseball coach, Chuck Yost, because, and he, him and I are still really good friends. He's only like 20 years older than me. He was coaching baseball, when he was 22, 23 years old, and or maybe only 10 years old. I mean, he's a young guy, and he's retired.
Yeah.
He's already retired as a baseball coach. He has kids younger than mine. But he knows, like, he affected my life so much that I decided I wanted to take this route. And by the way, I've barely been paid a dime to coach.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to wear that as a badge of honor or anything. It's so rewarding.
Yeah. It's a passion. It's a love.
That
it's rewarding.
Yeah. That, like, if more people got into it and understood, you got to do away with the bad, with the people that are frustrated and mad, and you got to worry about and try and help the people that are there, that need you the most. And too many people nowadays go, I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with the stress. I don't want to deal with Brian.
Yep. Yep. No way. I'm sure you've never heard that.
Yeah.
All right. So we're about to have to get off here because we got to take our boys to basketball practice.
Right.
But just when thinking about, let's say you've got some parents out there, their kids are, early elementary school. They're, doing the best they can. What encouragement would you give them when it comes to sports?
Put the phone down. Don't let them be raised by their phone. Put your phone down and go play catch with them.
Yep.
And dribble a basketball with them, even if you're not good. Don't take it easy on them. If you're out there playing basketball with them, beat them every once in a while. Like, show them that competitiveness needs to be built. But yeah, I mean, I think my biggest thing with my kids is while I could, I played with them. I played as much as I could for as long as I could. Coaching them is like playing with them. So, just like, it's only been like 5 years that I haven't really been able to hit a ground ball to them, stuff like that. But I can still pitch to them. So I pitch to them when I still can. Be involved. When people talk about dad coaches or mom coaches or, parent coaches, whatever, so what? Like, ignore that. The work at home is what means the most.
Yep.
So, we talk about getting our homework done first, and then we can go do the fun stuff. We talk about eating our green peas, our peas and green beans first, and then we can eat our ice cream or whatever, right? Like, we talk about getting all the stuff done that's most needed first, and then go do what you enjoy and your passion
Yep.
the most. So it's really worked. We'd go camping, and my kids love camping.
Yeah.
And they'd go out and they'd play and they'd come in and they go, oh, so and so's having an otter pop, and I'm like, you don't get an otter pop until you've ate this, but you can have as many otter pops as you want if you eat all of this macaroni salad or whatever. Yeah. Boom, macaroni salad is done. They can have 4 otter pops for all I care, right? It's like, as long as, it's in moderation, obviously not 4 otter pops every day.
Right.
But I mean, I think that's where we've done that with everything.
Yep.
Sports, school, anything, your chores. It's like, get it done.
Yep.
And then have fun.
Yep.
And I think what happens is parents go, I'm stressed out. I just got out of work. I don't want to play catch. I don't want to dribble the basketball. And maybe, your release is scrolling through your phone. But your kid's going to grow up.
Yeah.
And you're going to be looking at your phone.
Yeah.
And you're going to I wish I could have played basketball. I mean, I have those wishes.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I live it. I'm sitting here going, I would love to beat them at basketball. I can't. I stopped being able to keep up with my kids when they were 5 years old. Like, I couldn't run as fast as my kid when they're 5, 6, 7 years old. So, like, it's not something that, okay, you're 55, 65 years old, you could lose it. You can lose it when you're 25.
Yep.
And so then when you can't do it, then you got to find a new way to do it. It's just like anything you do, you adapt, you figure out a way, and you move forward. And sometimes I think parents get wrapped up in, is Billy as good as so-and-so? And so I need to go get lessons for him. Why? Why do you need to get a lesson? Like, why don't you just go in the back, go buy a net and a tee and a baseball that'll be about 1 lesson's cost. And every day say, Billy, I want you to take 35 swings off of this tee every day. And if you do it for 5 days straight, maybe we'll go get you a lesson.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I'll go out there every single day with you, and I'll try and help you hit this baseball. You may not want to listen to me, so I won't say much, but I'll be out here and encouraging you.
Yeah.
And I think, a lot of times parents want the quick way.
Yeah.
That's just how it is today. Like, as fast as you can, get whatever you can. 30-second videos, 60-second videos, 90-second videos. Somebody's not going to watch this whole thing. They're going to go, oh, I want to see the tidbits, right? I want to see all the cliff notes and see what, the highlights of this thing. And I think that's the world we live in.
Yep.
If we could get back, I think that was what was, somebody said that, the whole Charlie Kirk thing recently. Put your phone down.
Yep.
I think it was the governor of Utah or one of those representatives. Put your phone down. Give your kids a hug. Show them how much you love them. Be with them. Be present with them, right? And as you become more present in your life with everything that you do, you become more present with God.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you become more present with your family. My dad is just like an amazing person. And like I was saying earlier, we weren't really close when I was growing up, but like I can feel his presence in my life all the time because there's something that changed in him. And not that he's never a bad person, never any of that. I just didn't get to grow up every year with him, right? Until I was in 5th grade, he was there. Then for 6, 7 years, he wasn't there. Then I started living with him, and he went through all his own trials. And I think he came out of the back end of that understanding, like, these are the things that are most important to him. And he was older when right? He doesn't get to go back and be there and watch my baseball games when I was in school, right? So don't miss it.
Yeah.
Don't miss it. Like, don't miss out on it. Some people are like, oh, you're going to go to that game? He's had 17 baseball games in the last 3 weeks. Yeah. And what happens when he hits a home run at the game that I miss?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to be like, man, I really wish I was there. And we have the ability to watch things on video, so we can watch the highlights of the game. We can watch the game on video. All of those things. But it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. I mean, we're sitting there watching our boys play last week.
Yep.
And it's just a run-of-the-mill basketball game. And Luke didn't play out of his mind great. But he hustled the entire time. If I watch that on video, I'll go, hey, you did all right.
Yeah.
But watching it live, like, we get in the car and I'm like, dude, I couldn't be more proud of how you came out there. You hadn't played basketball in a while. he's got this, that, the other because he does so many things that
Yeah.
he might be hurting. He did not. He just played his hardest,
Yeah.
and a lot of the boys did.
Yeah.
So, but seeing there and watching them and seeing them
Oh, yeah.
improve as they move on, like, and it's not just sports, it's anything. Like,
Yeah.
one of the coaches for, I can't remember what his name, Bruce Arians. Have you ever seen
Oh,
this
yeah.
quote?
No.
So he said, these coaches coach for 16 hours a day. Who works 16 hours a day? No one, right? No one works 16. I mean, if you're a fisherman in,
Yeah.
out in New England or something, maybe you work 16 hours a day. So he told his staff, you will not work 16 hours a day. You can't go to your daughter's dance recital when you're 55 years old.
Yeah.
If you don't go to your daughter's dance recital now, I'm going to fire you. Like, we can coach, and he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? It's like what we talk about when I used to coach basketball. It's like, we can get all kinds of stuff done in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We don't have to do this for 3 hours. We don't have to do this for 4 hours. We don't have to make this the obsessive thing tonight.
Yeah.
We can obsess about getting better, and we can work hard at getting better over a gradual period of time. But the results that parents want, the results that kids want instantaneously this day is what's killing sports.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah.
And if people just lined up to understand what kind of work ethic it takes to fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
Because you asked me to brag about my kids.
Yeah.
I'll brag about that all day.
Yeah.
They have fallen in love with the process. Braden does something called throw formants, and it's a remote thing. He comes home. He goes to school at 7 o'clock in the morning. He goes to football till 8 o'clock at night or whatever, some 7:30 at night. He does his homework, and then he goes down. I have a little barn that has some batting cages in it, and he goes down and he works on his remote training throw formants, which is teaching him how to throw. He's fallen in love with the process because he started to see the results. He didn't, like, Luke is on the other end of the spectrum. When he's younger, he was just bigger and stronger. So, like, he works just as hard, so don't get me wrong, but, like, it was easier for him on certain things. Braden, other things were easier for him, but he didn't have that size. He didn't have that strength. He didn't have all that stuff. Now, since he's been working out for like a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever, he sees it and he's fallen in love with it, right? So we used to talk like, oh, you're not getting any bigger if you work out 2 days a week, 2 months at a time, But now that he's done it for so long and he's seen the results, I don't think it becomes a lifestyle.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
And you can, I think you can do that with anything. Any good habit can be built. You just have to practice it. You have to practice the habit.
Yeah. Yeah. Fall in love with the process.
Yeah.
Sheesh. No, like, yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for the encouragement. I know personally, like, if no one else watches this, I know for me, this is great encouragement for me and my boys. Like, thank you for always being there. Being a great coach, whether you're officially their coach or not. Thank you.
Always be the coach.
Being the just an example of a good father to boys that other dads are watching. So, but yeah, thank you for being here, Brian.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And for doing this. So, all right.
Thank you.
Follow us on Instagram. Check this out on Spotify. Peace.